What's up, fight fans? Welcome to the best leg kickers in MMA history tier list. We're going to start off with Mauricio Shogun Hua. I'm going to put him in switch stances because Shogun had some really nice leg kicks. We saw that in the first Lyoto Machida fight. If he just hit you enough times in the leg, you're going to have to switch stances, particularly that outside leg kick. That was brutal. That's where Shogun goes. Alex Perez, I'm going to put him at death by 1,000 kicks. Alex Perez, he has a finish by leg kicks. Is more of an cumulative style of kick you till you can't really walk anymore. So death by 1,000 kicks. Overeem, don't get kicked. And the reason I don't put him in get the crutches is because Overeem, he didn't really go for leg kicks a whole lot. He preferred to go to the body. But especially in his Ubereem era, if this guy kicked you in the legs, you know, it's not going to feel good. There's that famous video of him kicking a little girl through a pad, and she just goes flying, sweeps her off the feet. So horse meat Overeem, don't get kicked. Pat Barry, the Diddler Barry, I'm going to go ahead and put him at get the crutches. That's right, guys. Pat Barry, he's get the crutches because that was his best weapon, was his leg kicks. He came from kickboxing, where I think he had a couple of finishes with leg kicks as well, and the UFC, he had one, and he just had some nasty leg kicks. You know, powerful guy, stocky guy, big legs, but good technique. That outside leg kick was just going to destroy your thigh. And this is, you know, before the calf kicks, obviously, but still as effective as they come when it comes to kicking above the knee. Chris Gutierrez is death by 1,000 kicks. This guy can inside kick you, outside kick you, lead leg, back leg, doesn't matter. He is going to tear your legs up if you let him. He has 2 finishes in the UFC, I believe, by leg kicks. So death by 1,000 kicks for Chris Gutierrez. Cowboy Cerrone, also I'm going to put him at death by 1,000 kicks. I'm putting him at the low tier of that. He had more of a good inside leg kick that set up his hands and some of his other kicks to the body and the head. Cerrone maybe didn't have the most powerful leg kicks, but when he got going, if he landed a lot of kicks, it was going to be a bad night for you. Specifically, remember the Miles Jury fight where he just unloaded on him, and yeah, death by 1,000 kicks from Cowboy. Edson Barboza, get up there. Get the crutches. I don't need to say too much about Barboza, the ferocity, the speed, the technique, the damage that he did with just a couple of leg kicks. 2 finishes at lightweight with leg kicks. Yeah, get the crutches. Okay, Forrest Griffin is a pioneer. I still remember to this day, probably the first UFC fight I ever saw when I was like 14 years old was Forrest Griffin against Rampage Jackson. And he just destroyed him with kicks. And Forrest wasn't the most athletic or the most technical guy, but he was one of the first guys to popularize spamming leg kicks. Just the notoriety level of Forrest Griffin, I think, in my mind at least, he's a pioneer. Anthony Hardonk. Anthony Hardonk is going right up on get the crutches because this guy was brutal. He had that Dutch style of kickboxing, the outside leg kick to end the combinations, and it was insane. Actually, I think he's the only guy I've ever seen knock a dude out with a leg kick. He hit this guy so hard that he passed out. And yeah, get the crutches. Jana Jędrzejczyk is death by 1,000 kicks. Obviously, she wasn't the, you know, she's a small lady, but she had some really good kicks. She really knew how to mix them in well with the rest of her combinations. And yeah, Joanna champion, death by 1,000 kicks. Jonathan Martinez is also going to go in death by 1,000 kicks. Again, the guy has some good leg kicks. I believe he has a finish in the UFC, or 2 finishes in the UFC from leg kicks when he gets going. But we saw in the Jose Aldo fight, when he fights a guy that is savvy and a bit of a better striker, that gets shut down. It was actually Aldo who was kicking him, which reminds me, the best leg kicker of all time, Jose Aldo Jr. Get the motherfucking crutches, especially in his WEC days, especially when he was facing guys like Matt Brown and Uriah Faber, just absolutely destroying legs. Yeah, later on in the UFC, he kind of slowed down a little bit towards the end of his career. There's rumors that he got injured, this and that, but yeah, Jose Aldo, the leg kick king, always has been, always will be, and I don't got to say much more about him. Get the crutches. Justin Gaethje. Yeah, Justin Gaethje's get the crutches too. I'm going to put him third up there behind Barboza, especially again at the beginning of his career when he was facing lower level competition. He was just spamming the hell out of leg kicks. He was kicking people so hard. He was kicking people in the clinch. He was ending every combination with leg kicks. He has finishes, multiple finishes by leg kicks. And yeah, I have to go ahead and put him up there. Get the crutches. You're fighting Justin Gaethje. In the UFC, obviously, he slowed down a little bit. When you're fighting higher level competitions, you can't throw those naked leg kicks without, maybe getting hit. But still, we saw it in the Tony Ferguson fight. We saw it in the Michael Johnson fight. So he still goes up there. Khalil Roundtree Jr. is don't get kicked. I mean, he has that insanely powerful Thai style, and he can also throw the oblique kicks and the stomps to destroy your leg. But in general, you don't want to get kicked by Khalil Roundtree Jr. Actually, you know what? Yeah. After that last fight, what he did with Jamal Hill, and he has a stoppage, I believe, by leg kicks. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go ahead and put Khalil Roundtree and get the crutches because he's the type of guy that will deliver leg kicks all night, and when you're done fighting him, if you survive that, you're gonna be on crutches. So yeah, let's go. Marlon Moraes, switch stances. Marlon Moraes has some powerful leg kicks for bantamweight. Didn't really use them a whole lot, but he didn't need to. If he hit you with just a few leg kicks, you were gonna be in some trouble. You were gonna have to switch stances. So prime Marlon Moraes, switch stances. Melvin Manhoef. Melvin Manhoef is another one of these really dangerous kickboxer guys, Dutch guys with insane outside leg kicks. Finished a lot of his combinations with the outside left kick. Helped to set up his left hook to the body and the head. Probably his most famous display of leg kicks is against Robbie Lawler, where he had him just unable to walk, but somehow got knocked out anyway. And I think that's kind of what set him back was his will to engage. I mean, this is a guy that goes in there and throws shots, and either knocks you out or gets knocked out. If he would have been a little bit more disciplined and relied on those leg kicks a bit more, maybe he would have had more finishes with leg kicks. But in kickboxing, he has a few, and in the MMA fights that he has, he punished people with leg kicks. You couldn't take too many of his leg kicks at all. If you fought him, it's get the crutches. Miguel Baeza, I'm going to put him in switch stances. Miguel Baeza has a finish in the UFC by leg kicks. He has very powerful leg kicks, mostly to the calf. But he's one of these guys that kicks really hard. And if he hits you, you're going to have to switch stances. Mirko Cro Cop is don't get kicked. Don't get kicked. And the reason why is because, again, kickboxer, insanely powerful kicks, heavyweight. Didn't actually throw a lot of leg kicks. Preferred to go to the head and the body. Kind of like Overeem. But definitely one of the hardest kicker, if not the hardest overall kicker on this list. So, yeah, don't get kicked. Rafael Dos Anjos is switch stances. RDA was really good with the outside leg kick. He had ferocious outside leg kicks. Very powerful, really put his whole stride into them. I think we really saw them shine in the fight with Nate Diaz. He absolutely destroyed his leg. So RDA goes right there in switch stances. Next up, we got Marcos Ruiz. Marcos Ruiz is a pioneer. For those who don't know, this guy goes way, way back. Probably has the first finish by leg kicks in the UFC. Back when they didn't even fight with gloves. And yeah, the guy set the stage for what was really possible if you focused on kicking really hard to the legs. Renan Barao switched stances for me. One of these Nova União guys like Jose Aldo, he really tried to emulate Aldo's style. He wasn't quite as effective with the leg kicks, but he had very powerful outside leg kicks. He's the type of guy that even if you put your front leg up, he was going to go underneath it and hit the back leg. And obviously he was on a tear for a long time. Like something like 30 fights unbeaten, UFC bantamweight champion, and great leg kicks. So Renan Barao goes in switch stances. All right, we're gonna move around here a little bit, guys. We're gonna go with Yair Rodriguez. I'm gonna put him at death by 1,000 kicks. Obviously, Yair kicks really hard. He's a Taekwondo guy, so he has a unique style of kicking. compared to the rest of the guys on this list. The reason I don't put him higher is because he doesn't focus too much on leg kicks, but obviously he has really good leg kicks, really fast leg kicks, but mostly uses them to set up the spinning shit and some of the other crazier kicks that he throws. But yeah, Yair Rodriguez, definitely death by 1,000 kicks. Ricardo Arona. Don't get kicked, okay? Ricardo Arona, one of these guys that had insanely powerful leg kicks. The only reason he doesn't go higher is because he telegraphed him a little bit, but he was the type of guy that would kick you and you would just fly off your feet. I think we saw that in the Vanderlei fight, probably a few other fights where he was just hitting guys in the legs and they would go flying. Again, a little bit telegraphed at times, but the power was there, and you don't want to get kicked by that guy. Israel Adesanya is death by 1,000 kicks for me. You know, Adesanya is the type of guy that will stay on the outside, throw some kicks, not necessarily with the most power, but with, you know, a decent pop, enough to hinder your movement so that he can keep moving around. And, you know, I'm thinking Cannonier's fight, Yoel Romero's fight, even though I try not to remember. So, death by 1,000 kicks for Adesanya. Thiago Alves, the Pitbull, he's right up there in Get the Crutches. One of the original leg kick demons. This guy was absolutely tearing welterweights up. Nasty outside leg kick, nasty inside leg kick, so much power in the kicks, Thai style. Absolutely, you don't want this guy to kick you. This is Get the Crutches all day long. He was very known for these leg kicks because he had some real wonderful performances in the UFC welterweight division during his prime, where he was just messing people up with his leg kicks. Pedro Rizzo is the pupil of Marcos Ruas, and I'm going to put him in the pioneer category because Pedro Rizzo, again, one of these guys with absolutely insanely powerful kicks. His leg kicks were part of his specialty, and Joe Rogan's famous for always saying he had the most powerful leg kicks he's ever seen. Definitely think that there may be something to that. Anderson Silva. I'm putting Anderson at the top of death by 1,000 kicks because Anderson really did have some powerful kicks, but he didn't really like to spam them. He was more of a sniper, so he would throw them to kind of get you to come to him, and then he would try to counter you. He did this really well in the fight with Chris Weidman, the first fight, obviously, and then I think that's one of the reasons why he used it so much in the second fight to his detriment, because Weidman came prepared, checked the kick, broke his leg, and the rest is history. But before that horrific incident, Anderson Silva really had some of the nastiest leg kicks. I don't put him higher because, like I said, he wasn't the type of guy to spam leg kicks. It's more like use them to get you to come in and attack him so that then he can not only stifle your movement but counter. But he was a great leg kicker in his own right. Benson Henderson. For those of you that don't know, Benson Henderson introduced the calf kicks to MMA. He was the first guy to really use calf kicks in high-level fights. I remember him introducing it probably in the Nate Diaz fight. He was the first guy to really expose Nate Diaz's vulnerability to that outside leg kick because of how bladed he stands in that boxing stance. So he goes in pioneer status for that. Tarek Saffiedine. Tarek Saffiedine is switch stances. Tarek Saffiedine, for those of you guys who don't know, is a former Strikeforce champion. Took the belt from Nate Marquardt in one of the most impressive leg kick performances ever, where he just kind of had his leg purple. So Tarek Saffiedine, later in the UFC, he also was able to destroy the Korean guy's leg kicks. Name I don't remember, the big Korean dude. Just bombed him with leg kicks, made him fall I don't know how many times. Yeah, Tarek Saffiedine's at the top of switch stances. Brandon the Truth Vera. I'm going to put Brandon Vera somewhere in the midst of switch stances. Brandon Vera, when he was in light heavyweight, making his run at the UFC, when he looked like a real contender, he had some nasty leg kicks. He really did. He threw some really nice leg kicks, good technique, and he's the type of guy that can make you switch stances very quickly. And finally, guys, we have Alex Pereira, who I'm going to put up there in the midst of Get the Crutches, because Alex Pereira, he has really powerful leg kicks, but what makes them so special is that he's hard to read. Very hard to read with his leg kicks. You only need a few to be completely hindered for the rest of the fight, but what makes them so difficult is the way he throws them, and they're to the calf with very little telegraph. That combination of speed, finesse, and power make him an extremely dangerous kicker. Let me know what you guys think of my list. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you think I missed somebody, and until next time, I'm signing out. Peace.